Happy Friday and welcome to the 130th episode of Sports Corner. I'm Cole Young and hopefully you aren't too burnt out from daylight savings time because we have a lot to get to this week. We have officially reached the midway point of the NFL season, which is absolutely astonishing to me. It doesn't feel like 9 weeks have already gone by. Anyway, the past few weeks I've talked about some crazy upsets, last-second wins, overtime shootouts, and more. Week 9 in comparison was, well, a little flat. Two last-place teams, the Titans and Patriots, went to overtime where Tennessee came out on top after a game-winning field goal in overtime. The Rams and Seahawks also went into overtime, and an absolute dime from Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford gave LA their fourth win of the season. Probably the biggest shock of the week was the Ravens breezing past the Broncos, beating them 41-10. The Broncos defense had not allowed a team to score over 26 points until this point, and that came all the way back in week 1. But Derrick Henry rushed for his 100th career touchdown and has already hit the 1,000-yard mark on this season, so an MVP trophy could be in his future. One single play in the Philadelphia-Jacksonville game was absolutely the highlight of the week, though. Up 7-0 in the second quarter, the Eagles had the ball in Jaguars territory. On 3rd and 6, quarterback Jalen Hurts dumped a checkoff pass to running back Saquon Barkley. What happened next is truly one of the most incredible things I've ever seen happen on a football field. Barkley caught the pass behind the line of scrimmage, shed one tackler, spun out of another tackle, and then hurdled a third defender backwards. Barkley picked up 14 yards and the first down and sent teammates on the field and sidelines and viewers all over the country into an absolute frenzy. How he timed the hurdle so perfectly while facing away from the defender and landing on his feet and continuing to run just makes no physical sense in my mind. Words and pictures do not do it justice, so I highly suggest searching Saquon Barkley no-look hurdle on YouTube. Since we're halfway through the regular season, I figured I'd take a look back at the playoff predictions I made before the season started and see where we're at. In the AFC, I said it would be the Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, and Texans as the 4 division winners, and the 3 wildcard teams would be the Bengals, Dolphins, and Denver Broncos. The Chiefs, Bills, and Ravens are 3 of the best teams in the league at the moment, so I feel pretty confident there, although the Steelers are technically in first place in the AFC North, not the Ravens. The Texans haven't been as good as anticipated, but still are winning games and playing in a weaker division. The Bengals and Broncos both still have shots to secure a wildcard spot. Technically, if the season ended today, the Broncos would be the 7 seed. The Dolphins only have about an 8% chance to make the playoffs if they beat the Rams this week, so that pick was a little off. The only teams I did not account for are the Los Angeles Chargers, who are currently 5-3 and the 6th playoff seed, and the Steelers. In the NFC, I was not nearly as accurate. I predicted that the 4 division winners would be the 49ers, Eagles, Buccaneers, and Packers. The 3 wildcard teams would be the Lions, Rams, and the Chicago Bears. The Eagles and Packers are both still in the playoff picture and have fairly good odds to make it in, but neither are division leaders. The Lions are currently the top dog in the NFL and the number 1 seed in the NFC. The Bucs did have a good chance at winning their division before they were plagued by injury, and now the Falcons sit on top of the NFC South. A pleasant surprise has been the emergence of Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, who are currently the number 2 seed in the playoffs. The 2 biggest shocks, however, have been the Minnesota Vikings and the Arizona Cardinals. Both teams have played above and beyond expectations and have solid shots at division titles and deep playoff runs. So, if the season ended today, I would be 8-14 on my playoff predictions. Over 50%, but not great. Back to what I'm better at, though. Last week in my picks, I went another perfect 4-0 on the week, bringing me to 21-7 on the season. Not too bad if you ask me. Let's see if I can keep it rolling this week. For week 10, I'll go with the Bills over the Colts, the Bears to bounce back with a win over the Patriots, San Francisco to take care of the Bucs on the road, and the Chargers to continue their winning ways with a win over the Titans. Speaking of playoff football, the College Football Playoff Selection Committee released the first playoff rankings of the year on Tuesday this week. Keep in mind, college football playoffs have only been around since 2014, where it has since been just a 4-team single-elimination tournament. Now, for the first time in history, the playoff has expanded to a whopping 12 teams. Here's how the teams will be chosen. 1. Guaranteed bids for the top 5 conference champions in the college football rankings. No conference will have an automatic bid. A conference must have a minimum of 8 members for its champion to be eligible for a guaranteed bid. 2. At-large bids for the 7 highest-ranked remaining teams, which could include additional conference champions. 3. The 4 highest-ranked conference champions will receive first-round byes. And 4th and lastly, the remaining teams will play each other in the first round at the home fields of the better seeds or an alternate venue of their choosing. Matchups will be 5 versus 12, 6 versus 11, 7 versus 10, and 8 versus 9. Anyway, with all that said, here's how the playoff picture looks today. Oregon, Georgia, Miami, and BYU would be the top 4 teams, each receiving a first-round bye. Probably the biggest surprise in this projection is my alma mater, Boise State. Behind running back Ashton Jeanty, that's setting all kinds of records, BSU's 7-1 and looking to roll into a Mountain West championship and a playoff berth. This list is constantly fluctuating, so be sure to check out some of the major games this weekend to see how it all shakes out. There aren't a ton of major ranked matchups this weekend, with the exception of the game of the week, number 11 Alabama heading to Death Valley in Baton Rouge to take on number 15 LSU. That game will kick off tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. on ABC. With all the excitement for playoffs ramping up, it's easy to forget that regular seasons are just beginning. The NHL regular season is underway, and yet again, our 2 local teams are on completely different trajectories. Granted, it's very early in the season. The Kings are off to an 8-3 start and are up at the top of the Pacific Conference. The Ducks, on the other hand, are down towards the middle bottom of the Pacific Conference with a 4-6 record. On the plus side, the Ducks spent the offseason rebranding and releasing new uniforms and logos, which are significantly better than their old ones in my opinion. The reigning champion Florida Panthers picked up right where they left off and are yet again one of the best teams in the league. The Ducks played today and Sunday, and the Kings have games tomorrow and Monday, so try to check out a few games and see how the season unfolds. On top of the NHL season, the NBA season is back in session as well. The Cavaliers quickly started their season with a franchise-best 9-0 record, with the reigning champion Boston Celtics right on their tail at 7-2. Our hometown Lakers are hovering around the 500 mark, so let's hope we get to watch them in the playoffs for another season. The best part about the NBA is that there are games virtually every single day of the week, so throw some on this weekend and watch some of the most talented athletes on earth compete. As always, thank you for joining me on this week's episode of Sports Corner. There's so much to enjoy this weekend, from NFL to college football to NBA, NHL, F1, and so much more. Tune in to as much as you possibly can and come right back next week for more news, updates, and highlights from all across the sports world. I'm Cole Young. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next time.